Hey guys, Dr. Barker here of drchrisbarker.com, Health Made Simple. And today I want to talk to you about the 5 common mistakes that are ruining your metabolism. And I hear this all the time. People say, I used to eat whatever I wanted, I could do whatever I want, and suffer no consequences. And a few years later, you suddenly hit this wall. You know, it's almost like you literally look at food and gain weight. It's because you have affected something called your metabolism. And yes, it's true, as you get older, your metabolism will lower a little, but again, not to the extent that you will see massive changes. It's the things that you're doing every single day. So again, what is a metabolism? It's your body's main system to convert food into energy. But the problem is, when your body is no longer converting the food into energy, it's eventually stored as fat that causes all sorts of health issues. So again, over time, it's the foods we're eating, the processed foods, the fried foods, the sugars, that it's again over and over and over putting stress on the system, and eventually it burns out. It's kind of like when you were a kid and your mom was like, do clean your room, clean your room, clean your room. Yeah, you would do it, but over time it was too much and you would eventually tune her out and just not do it anymore. The body's the same way. You overload it with constant work. Eventually it's going to burn out and slow down your metabolism. So I'm going to show you the 5 common mistakes that you are doing that not only is going to not only lower your metabolism, but over time, if you reverse this, it will raise your metabolism up. So the first mistake is processed and sugary foods. And you know, how does this work? Everyone knows sugar isn't the best for you, but if you're ingesting sugar, it goes into your bloodstream, and over time, it would actually kill you. If you had that much amount of sugar in your bloodstream, your body releases something called insulin that pulls the sugar out of your bloodstream into your cells, and then eventually it's stored as energy, and if you don't use it, it's going to be stored as fat. So what happens though is the average person, according to the American Heart Association, has 22 teaspoons of sugar a day. And it's kind of like the boss that just keeps putting work on your desk, and you're working and you're working, you can't catch up. Eventually you will burn out. The body does the same thing, says, I can't take this anymore. It's doing too much work, and your metabolism will start to drop. So you got to avoid sugar. And most people know this, like obviously things like candy and white sugar. We know that candy has sugar, avoid that. But a lot of people don't know all these hidden places. Most people say there's no way that I ingest 22 teaspoons of sugar a day. It's because they're in these hidden places. A common secret place is bread. And I want you to at home, take a piece of bread or a carbohydrate, put it in your mouth, and keep it there. And do that for about 30 seconds to a minute. Over time, I guarantee you it will start to taste sweet. Why? All carbohydrates eventually break down into sugars. That's why you hear people say, don't eat carbs. Again, it's because they all add to and eventually break down into simple sugars. The other secret place that they hide is things like pasta sauces. I mean, this is crazy. This has 13 grams per serving of sugar. The other one too is barbecue sauces and salad dressings. This is amazing, 16 grams. So again, read your labels and start to cut down sugar. That will drastically take the load off your metabolism and help it to start to heal and then speed back up. The second one is improper oil use. Things like vegetable oil and canola oil. You know, these are things that are rancid oils that are destroying your metabolism. A lot of people don't know that canola oil actually is called rapeseed, and it is a rancid oil. The vegetable oil industry, this is kind of like their dirty secret, is that because they're so oxidized and rancid, they actually have to deodorize it so you don't smell it. Otherwise, you would literally be gagging because it is a rancid oil. And the different thing is that when I say rancid, it doesn't mean like it's a stale piece of bread or, rotten tomato. It is literally an oxidized, rancid oil. And if you look at this picture of this avocado, what oxidation is that brown stuff, when you cut an apple or cut an avocado, the brown stuff is oxidation. It's basically free radicals destroying that, that fruit. But the only difference now is when you ingest these oils, it does it to your cells and causes all sorts of health issues, gunks up the system, and lowers your metabolism. So again, get out the improper oils, start to add good oils and good fats, things like, coconut oil, butter. But again, stay away from those type of oils. The third one is pesticide-rich foods. Now, this is really important. A lot of these foods now are doused and sprayed with different pesticides. If you see on the left-hand corner, that is the dirty dozen. These are fruits like berries and pears and nectarines that have to be organic. The right ones on the right are the clean 15. If you're worried about money as an option, you can maybe get away with the other ones not being organic, but they're finding out that these are called organochlorines, that literally, they're all chemicals that destroy your hormones, your neurotransmitters, that are affecting and lowering your metabolism. So again, start to buy organic fruits and veggies and then wash them as well. So otherwise, it will lower your metabolism. The next one I always can say is artificial sweeteners. Now, I'm not going to be that guy. I mean, I'm not taking a side on this, but the problem is if you drank a 12-pack of soda a week, right? And then you switched over to diet. The reality is if it's a diet food, you should lose a ton of weight, but that's not what's happening out there. They're finding out that these artificial sweeteners like, the pink packet and the yellow packet and the blue packet, they're finding out that they are loaded with chemicals. They're made in labs. I mean, and the stories that you're hearing, you've probably seen on the internet, is they can cause things like cancers. There are all sorts of different pesticides, and that they cause issues. They say it only happens in rats and different animals, but again, the jury isn't out. I'm not saying that I really know, but one thing is for sure, I would avoid them and start to switch over to a natural form. So again, avoid your artificial sweeteners, switch over to something maybe more natural like stevia, because these artificial sweeteners are chemicals and they have to, long-term, affect your metabolism and lower it. And the last one is, I love this one. I'm not saying never drink alcohol again, but, according to the Journal of Nutrition, they know that consumption of alcohol at a meal lowered its fat burning ability. Things like, beer and wine. Again, if you were looking to help your metabolism, you want to avoid those things. The other thing about alcohol is, think about it. Anyone who's ever drank out there, it's a natural diuretic. You're going to the bathroom. The problem is it dehydrates you, and that also, dehydration will lower your metabolism. It's kind of like driving your car without coolant, right? If you drive your car without coolant, the engine's going to run hot, the system will not work well and eventually implode. Your body's the same way. If you do not have water and hydration in your body, your metabolism will not work properly and eventually lower, at least temporarily or over time. I would say to a point where it can't be corrected. So again, add things like waters, teas, but again, you want to stay away from alcohol, things like fruit juices. And again, if you avoid these top 5 things, I guarantee you it will, again, make sure that your metabolism doesn't keep dropping, and over time start to increase your metabolism, will come back over time. So again, start to slowly take these out of your diet, add the substitute, and over the next few weeks, look for my top foods that will drastically boost your metabolism and give you the most energy than you've ever had.